Microsoft plans on removing the Start button in Windows 12. Recently, a video by BreTech09 has revealed that according to some reputable online sources, Microsoft is effectively planning to remove the Start menu and force users to use the artificial intelligence features, which is apparently what we can expect to see with the next new version of Windows. And as if this weren't enough to have you not want to upgrade to Windows 12, it's also going to be downright impossible to disable or turn off these artificial intelligence capabilities. So basically, Microsoft is going to shove the AI shit down your throat, and there ain't nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. And that sounds really sucky, but keep in mind that Microsoft themselves have not released any official information regarding the next version of Windows, so at the time being, this is all speculation and potential fear-mongering. However, you cannot doubt the credible sources, and personally, I think it's likely, in fact, very likely, that Microsoft will deeply integrate their Copilot and other artificial intelligence products and services into their system. So, this really confirms the fact that Windows really is a service now. How disappointing and unfortunate. Now they will continue to effectively bloat Windows with shit we didn't even ask for, and you know what? Some people will just shove it to Microsoft and ditch their platform entirely. They could switch to a free and open source system such as Linux. Thanks to it having far better customization, control is all in your hands, and privacy is a lot better with just about any Linux distro, especially ones like Tails or Unix, which are specifically designed for privacy. However, you only need those privacy-built ones if you need them. If you don't, then simply look for a beginner-friendly, intuitive, easy-to-use Linux distro. My personal recommendation is Linux Mint. I have plenty of videos regarding why I think Linux Mint is the best distro for newcomers to Linux. Go check those out if you're interested. Anyway, back to the removal of the Start button in Windows 12. This now means that if you try not to use artificial intelligence features, Windows will essentially become dysfunctional and completely useless to you, the user. If all this turns out to be true when we finally see the next version of Windows, I will be one of many who will be incredibly and outright disgusted and dissatisfied with the way they are heading with Windows, because for one, not everyone will want to use these artificial intelligence features, and for two, Windows 12 will likely have the same, if not, more extensive and restrictive minimum hardware requirements. SSDs could be mandatory for Windows 12, and the artificial intelligence features will likely mean extra hardware requirements that even the new Windows 11 PCs could struggle to meet, and who knows if the AI features can be disabled or not, but it's likely that they will be unremovable. Microsoft has clearly not learned their lesson from the disaster that was Windows 8 and 8.1. 8.1 fixed some of the issues but was nowhere near as well received as Windows 10. Windows 12 is going to be the worst substandard garbage that will ever be served to you, the user, by Microsoft. Windows 12 could also see the forced use of Copilot to do everything in Windows, and as mentioned earlier, it's likely that these features cannot and will not be removable or will be able to be disabled by the user if they personally do not want a specific feature. This is already present with Windows Telemetry Data Collection Service, which is likely to get even worse and more extensive in Windows 12. Whether or not all of this is just overhyping about the next version of Windows is a matter of personal opinion, and personally, I think Windows 12 could be a disaster release like its 11-year-old failed counterpart, Windows 8, which will turn 11 years old in October 2024. This is also the time we are currently expecting to see Windows 12 be released to the public, but for now, it is unclear as to whether or not there will be a new version of Windows in 2024. But if rumors saying that Microsoft will go back to a 3-year schedule release cycle happen to be true, then it is way more likely than not that we will see a new version. This is also due to Windows 11 having not gained a lot of market share. It's incredibly slow and stagnates a lot, whereas Windows 10 has held dominant for many years. We are still seeing it be used by almost 3/4 of the entire world's operating system market share pie, and Microsoft clearly wants people to stop using the older versions. Many are still using 7. Especially in poorer nations, and 8.1 has more than 1 million users worldwide despite it being end of life, so these users are put at increased security and safety risks, which can be hard to mitigate. Even with antivirus, you will not be proactively protected from ransomware, rootkits, zero-day threats, etc. These as well as many other types of malware and security flaws present great danger to you and your online data, privacy, and security, so users are strongly advised to upgrade to an up-to-date operating system. Many with really underpowered computers, or PCs that cannot run a supported version of Windows, usually go for a lightweight Linux distro. Because Linux is free and open source, it comes in many flavors, or distros. It gives you a ton of control and customization over the system, so you can suit it to your liking, and a great deal of FOSS applications exist for Linux. However, not everyone wants to use Linux, because for one, many business standard apps lack native support for Linux, and for two, Linux requires you to install another OS on your PC, either alongside the main one, or replacing the main OS with a Linux distro, either of which can be used to run Linux. However, dual boot configurations can be risky because you risk corruption of the bootloader. This could be due to a failed Windows update, or maybe even a failed Linux update, which can result in losing access to both systems. This results in corruption of the bootloader, and Windows can overwrite your master boot record, MBR, which will not allow you to boot into Linux, which once again prevents access to Linux. It can also be very difficult to remove Linux from a dual boot. This also risks corrupting your bootloader, and unfortunately, even a dual drive boot can be risky, so it's advisable to back up all of your data before you install Linux, either alongside your main OS, or to replace it, and when switching to Linux, try the distro out for a good 5 minutes, make sure it works well with your existing hardware, and you should be good to go. Linux can revive older hardware really well, and Linux Mint XFCE is my recommendation for those of you with less powerful PCs but you are interested in switching to Linux, maybe because Windows is so sluggish and unusable. Mint XFCE is lightweight, very stable and robust, incredibly intuitive, easy to use, and navigate your way through the system, and a software store is included to save you needing to use the terminal to install and update your software. Plus, Linux Mint is completely free to use, no activation or license key is needed, and it's yours forever. If your hardware is more powerful, I can recommend Linux Mint Cinnamon or Mate. Both are sleek, modern, and unique. They both carry the same recommendation reasons as Linux Mint XFCE, however, only for more modern or capable hardware. Something around 2010 and later should be fine to run Linux Mint Mate or Cinnamon. Anything with less than 8 GB of RAM or older generations of RAM should use the XFCE edition for a faster and zippier experience. If you cannot switch to Linux, then I cannot really recommend anything else, other than planning an upgrade from Windows 10 or a version that is currently end of life. You will only need to upgrade from 10 after it goes end of life. What are your opinions on Windows 12 potentially not having the start button? Let us all know down in the comments section below. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next video. Bye for now.